Hi there, welcome to this new video. Throughout history, scientists have pushed the boundaries of knowledge through experimentation. Some of these experiments have had severe consequences for the participants, ranging from getting mentally ill to being killed in the experiment. In today's video, we will discuss the 10 most dangerous science experiments ever conducted. Number 1. The Manhattan Project. Developed during World War II, the Manhattan Project was a research program to develop the first ever nuclear weapons. The project was led by physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer and was conducted in secret at various locations in the United States, including Los Alamos Laboratory in New Mexico. The experiments resulted in the development of the atomic bomb, which was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing over 200,000 people, most of them civilians, and also causing long-term health effects for many more. Number 2. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study. This study, conducted by the US Public Health Service between 1932 and 1972, involved withholding treatment for syphilis from African American men. This experiment kept on going even after the development of penicillin as a treatment. The study was conducted in Tuskegee, Alabama, and involved 600 men, 399 of whom had syphilis. For those who don't know, syphilis is a sexually transmitted infection that can cause serious health problems without treatment. And by the 1930s, approximately 1 out of every 10 Americans suffered from it. During the experiment, the men were not told that they had the disease, and they were also not treated for it, even after penicillin became the standard treatment. The study resulted in the deaths of many of the men involved and caused significant harm to the Tuskegee community. Number 3. The Stanford Prison Experiment. This famous study, conducted by psychologist Philip Zimbardo in 1971, aimed to explore the psychological effects of power and authority by simulating a prison environment with student participants. The participants were randomly assigned a role as either guard or prisoner, and the experiment quickly spiraled out of control. The guards became extremely abusive and the prisoners showed signs of severe psychological distress. Zimbardo wished to keep on going, but after his assistant told him that this was inhumane, the experiment was shut down prematurely, due to the extreme psychological harm to the participants. Number 4. The Aversion Project. This South African program, conducted in the 1970s and 1980s, aimed to cure gay soldiers and prisoners of their homosexuality. The aim was to do this through electric shock therapy and chemical castration. The program was conducted by the South African Defence Force and the South African Bureau of State Security. As you can imagine, it caused severe physical and psychological harm to the individuals subjected to it. The Aversion Project was part of a larger effort by the apartheid regime to suppress and control various aspects of people's lives, including their sexual orientation. The program has been widely condemned and is considered a violation of human rights. Number 5. The Milgram Obedience Experiment. Conducted by psychologist Stanley Milgram in the 1960s, this experiment aimed to study obedience to authority by having participants administer electric shocks to a learner when they gave incorrect answers. The experiment revealed disturbing levels of obedience to authority, even when the learner was clearly in distress. The ethical side of this experiment have been widely debated, but it is widely considered to have provided insights into the dangers of blindly following authority. Number 6. The Phoenix Project. The Phoenix Project was a Cold War-era program conducted by the US Army aimed at developing chemical and biological weapons for use against the Soviet Union. The program was carried out at the Dugway Proving Ground in Utah and involved experiments with deadly agents. However, these experiments resulted in accidental releases, causing illness and death among the scientists and military personnel involved. The existence of the Phoenix Project was classified and not widely known until many years later. The program has been criticized for its unethical conduct and lack of proper safety measures, which led to harm to both the personnel involved and the environment. Nowadays, the use of chemical and biological weapons is widely considered a violation of international law and the Geneva Convention, and such programs are now thus banned by many countries. Number 7. The MK Ultra experiments. Conducted by the CIA in the 1950s and 1960s, these experiments aimed to investigate the use of mind control techniques on unknowing individuals. The experiments involved administering drugs such as LSD to unwitting subjects, often without their knowledge or consent, causing severe psychological harm. The program was exposed in the 1970s and led to widespread condemnation and even legal action. Number 8. The Hela cell contamination in the 1950s. In this bizarre case, scientist Henrietta Lacks's cancer cells were taken without her knowledge or consent and used for numerous medical experiments. The Hela cells proved to be incredibly durable and were widely used in scientific research, leading to many important medical discoveries. However, it was later discovered that the Hela cells had contaminated other cell lines used in scientific experiments, which resulted in inaccurate research results and the potential loss of other medical discoveries. The case of Henrietta Lacks brought attention to the ethical issues surrounding the use of human tissue in scientific research, and led to greater scrutiny of the practices and policies surrounding the use of human tissue. The legacy of Henrietta Lacks also highlights the importance of informed consent and the need for ethical practices in scientific research involving human tissue. Number 9. The human radiation experiments. Conducted between 1944 and 1974, these experiments involved administering radioactive materials to human subjects, often without their knowledge or consent. The experiments were conducted by the US government, including the Atomic Energy Commission and the Department of Energy, as well as universities and private institutions. The subjects of these experiments included prisoners, hospital patients, and military personnel. The experiments resulted in severe physical and psychological harm to the subjects, and many of them died as a result of the exposure to radiation. Number 10. The CIA's Operation Midnight Climax. This program, conducted by the CIA, ran from the 1950s to the early 1960s. To perform this study, the agency set up safe houses in San Francisco, New York, and other cities to study the effects of LSD and other drugs on unsuspecting individuals. The program was run by the CIA's technical services staff, and it involved the use of prostitutes to lure men to the safe houses, where they were then dosed with LSD. All these actions were done without their knowledge or consent. The operation was exposed in the 1970s, and it led to widespread condemnation and legal action against the CIA. It remains unclear what specific legal action the CIA faced as a result of Operation Midnight Climax. However, the revelation of the program contributed to greater public scrutiny of the intelligence agencies and their practices. It also led to calls for greater accountability and transparency in their operations. Thank you so much for watching this video. These 10 examples of dangerous experiments are only a small number of the many controversial and unethical experiments that have been conducted throughout history. It is important to note that many of these experiments were done with little or no oversight or regulations, leading to severe harm to the subjects involved and a violation of their rights. Luckily, nowadays there are strict ethical guidelines and regulations in place to protect human subjects in scientific research and experiments. These 10 dangerous science experiments serve as a reminder of the potential consequences of reckless or unethical conduct in the pursuit of scientific knowledge. As we continue to push the boundaries of science and technology, it is important that we do so with a clear understanding of the responsibilities that come with it. As always, we hope you have learned something new and interesting today, as our goal is to bring you more knowledge with every video. Be sure to check out our other videos to learn more interesting facts. If you enjoyed watching this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And also be sure to comment what topic you would like to see a video about next. Also definitely let me know which science experiment shocks you the most.